Now, back to North Korea. Completing its first successful launch of an intercontinental ballistic missile. Not much of a reaction in the markets. Want to bring in, though, Steve Forbes, editor-in-chief of Forbes Media. Investors, are they shrugging off this North Korea thing, Steve?
For the moment, but I think they're going to wake up to the fact that this is something we can't kick the can down the road anymore, that more drastic measures are going to have to be taken. And with a rogue regime like that and an uncertain China, that's going to create uncertainty about the world situation.
Whatever happened to geopolitical risk and fear? I remember back in the day when you could add $15 to oil because of geopolitical risk. You've got Qatar at odds with its friends. You got a belligerent Iran, and you've got Russia running around. I mean, it seems to me to be as unstable as any time in recent memory, and yet, whether it's stocks or oil, what happened to that geopolitical risk?
We've been spoiled, especially since the end of the Cold War and after 9/11, when that effect wore off. People got used to the way the world is, and they don't feel it's going to affect them, certainly not the economies, the way, say, an oil spike would have been in the past.
If you believe the smartest guys in the room, though, are Wall Street guys, are they saying that they believe a solution will happen with respect to North Korea in particular? In the past, it really always boiled down to cutting them a check.
Well, given what's happened in the past, where you've always come up with a solution, which North Korea then would violate.
Well, they always violated the treaty part.
And so they figure something will be cooked up this time. But it doesn't always happen that way. You know, in World War I, 100 years ago, right up to the declaration of war in Europe, the markets didn't really believe it was going to happen, and then they panicked, and the New York Stock Exchange closed for 5 months. So even smart Wall Streeters don't always see the future.
Wow. All right, next one for you, Steve. President Trump tweeting this yesterday, quote, gas prices at the lowest in the U.S. in over 10 years. I would like to see them go even lower. Are we going to see an even bigger drop in gas prices?
Only if you reduce the gasoline tax.
Well, how many states just went up about
New Jersey went up 23 cents a gallon.
Yeah, a handful of states have just actually gone up, and more will follow. So
California.
And the federal gas tax is getting traction. I mean, people are saying, hey, listen, it's been a long time. We got a lot of potholes. Why not do it this way?
Yeah, they always come up with needs, politicians, for why they have to pick your pockets even more instead of making do with what they have. But and also lower gasoline prices would demand a $5 or $10 reduction in a barrel of oil. That's not going to be good for oil stocks.
Or what about employment? I mean, that's let's face it. A lot of the capital-intensive projects in this country have been driven by the oil and gas industry.
Well, oil and gas has done well until a couple of years ago when oil prices finally cracked. But we saw in the 1980s, you can have a depressed energy industry, which we had back then. Texas was a desolate area, and still have a vibrant economy. So lower gasoline prices are good for the consumer, and hopefully that'll create more confidence. But what it does do for the energy industry is drive them even more, which they're doing, to become more efficient, which will make us a more formidable producer.
Yeah, I mean, we talk technology all the time in terms of Silicon Valley, but what they've been able to do in oil and gas via technology has been absolutely remarkable.
It's a miracle.
It really is.